Hey guys, Kev here, and we have some new slip joints to talk about. Well, let's get into it. Jack Wolf knives, Rosecraft blades. Let's talk about the Jack Wolf first. You know, I love Ben. I love the Jack Wolf team, and they have something pretty cool for us this month. This is part of the Gateway series. This is the equal end Jack, and I happen to have one in 80s. So they launched the Gateway series around Blade Show this year, and it's a pinned construction slip joint with modern materials, and honestly, it's basically the best value you're going to get in a slip joint. Now, I like Rosecraft. I have two right here I'm going to show you next, and their value is great. With Jack Wolf, you're now getting 14C28N, which is a stainless steel, a tough steel. You're getting premium handle materials like 80s camo carbon, also modern handle materials. That's something that I care about. When it comes to the Rosecrafts, they're kind of going more for the traditional look, right? And I find it interesting. So they came out with the original Gateway series Barlow, and it has steel bolsters, and it's got that pin construction we see in a lot of the affordable and premium slip joint companies like GEC does it, but also Rough Rider does it, right? These are made overseas, so they're made in China, and that is a similarity it has to Rosecraft. Another similarity it has is the price point. So we'll look at both, but you know, I think the Rosecrafts are around $60, I believe. And the Gateway starts at like $69. So you're paying $10 more, but you're getting a stainless steel. And that's been my biggest complaint when it comes to Rosecraft is I just need something other than D2. But they've stuck to their guns on D2 because they believe that that's what gives them the most value to their customers, which I totally understand. If you want to be loyal to the customers like that the price point stays down and they use D2. Fair. I mean, Jack Wolf kind of was like, hey, man, hold my beer. Hold my knife. Right? Because they're giving you the same thing essentially, but you're getting 14C. I mean, it's $10 more. Are you willing to pay $10 more for a stainless steel? I am. So yeah, it's interesting. And then the handle materials, the cover materials, there's a nice balance here with Jack Wolf where they're doing traditional stuff for the people who like that, and they're doing the modern stuff for the people like me who like this. So you have 80s camo carbon here, and the crazy thing is the execution on these slip joints is absolutely bananas. And again, this is essentially going to be a comparison because I have both here. I figured they were a good fit to do a video together on. I like both companies. So, you know, why wouldn't we, right? But like the quality here is amazing. Like there's no gaps. Like the fit on the inlays is better than a lot of like modern OEMs do on folding knives, right? On locking knives. I mean, there's no perceivable, it's almost like it feels like a Riot transition. I mean, that's insane to me. For the price point, and you're talking about camo carbon, which is, you know, my favorite material to put on a knife. It's just crazy. Nice contouring. You can see the veins in the 80s. You have a nice little crest here, and that is also buttery smooth. The pins, buttery smoothed out. Like, it's just amazing. You look at the spine here, look at the spring. Try to find the gapping. I mean, there's a little bit, you can see the seam, but like, are you kidding me? We have to hunt that down. It almost looks like one piece of steel. Now, this design overall, it's called the equal end jack, and that's essentially because, well, look at it. It's like a bullet end on both ends. right? It's like the same on both ends, equal end. I get it. Makes perfect sense. And then it has a spear point blade on it. It's got this stubby tip. Now that's my biggest negative on the knife, is just the blade design I don't like. Now a lot of people love spear points, so that's perfect for them. I've just never been a fan of these stubby tips. I opened some packages today with it, and I had some of those like airbag things. You know how now instead of a bunch of peanuts, you get these like airbags. Well, to stab them, you know, I had to kind of poke and then give it a good push so that it would go into the bag and pop it, because it's such a stubby tip. The rest of this blade gets stuck on the outside and you got to penetrate it through. It's not a big deal. It took 2 seconds to pop it. But if I had a sheep's foot blade, right, or a Warney, that would just instantly, like I would barely touch the thing and it would be like, you know. But that's why I love a utility style blade shape. Now they did a sheep's foot the first time around on the Gateway series, so they're just rotating blade shapes. I'm sure the next one will be a clip point, and I'll complain about how it's belly up to the tip and whatever. That's just personal preference. So if you love the blade shape, then yeah, it's great. It's got a machine satin, which it looks pretty good. I mean, it's nothing special, and you're going to see the same finish on the Rosecraft. You do have a nice swedge up here, which is cool. You have your blade steel marking, 14C28N, and that Jack Wolf font. Jack Wolf over here. And then we'll look at the walk and talk. There's obviously no, it's flush in the open. Great walk and talk. Flush in the half. And in the closed position, we are flush. So we're flush in all three positions. We're dead centered. We have no perceivable play. I mean, it's freaking bonkers in my opinion. Nice sharpening tool too. Trademark there from Jack Wolf Knives. Look at the walk and talk. Nice jumpy spring to the half stop. Snaps down on the close. If you have really sweaty hands, it might be a little hard to pinch at times, but I am able to pinch that. It does seem to be a flat grind. Don't think it's a hollow. It might be. I don't know, but it thins out really nicely. They have thin stock to begin with, so I think that's why it feels like it might be a hollow grind. But it cuts really well, very smooth. It's got a nice edge on it. I mean, it's pretty... it's kind of like bananas here, to be honest. I talked to Ben a little bit about it, and I was like, man, I really wish this was 154 CM because it's my favorite budget steel. I mean, that's what we put on all of our budget knives for the most part. Here's the, this isn't a budget knife, but we put it on our more affordable knives, I should say. This is like a mid-range knife. This is the Growler XL. These are available right now, by the way. If for some reason you're watching this video about slip joints and you're like, yeah, I want a 9-inch freaking monster. Well, here you go. You're welcome. These are at White Mountain Knives only. So feel free to go over there, look up the Growler XL. It's in 154 CM blade steel. Now, the cheapest version of this is all stonewash blade, G10 handle. And 154, obviously, it's $125 with a discount code out the door. All right. This is $70 for the cheapest version. And it's in 14C 28N. So the price would obviously increase if they bumped up to 154. They also have another line of knives. They have the ultralight series. And I think there's another one I can't think of. And like they have a G10 and 154 CM knife, which is like the Growler I just showed you. I think those are $199 or something like that. So that's kind of their 154 CM mid-range, right? And that's with a screwed construction. That's with the more modern construction. which is different. It just costs more to do that. So they're kind of reserving 14C28N for the Gateway series. They don't want to start, muddying the waters. If they put 154 on here and charge more, and then they put 14C on the ultralight, and then they charge less, and then it just gets really confusing. It's easier to go 14C, which I think is a rung down on the steel ladder, but still excellent for a $60, $70, $80 knife. Sorry, $70, $80 knife. 14C28N is perfectly fine. It's a great, in fact, great. I'm glad it's not Nitro V. I'm not a fan of Nitro V. And again, if I stepped it up, I would want 154 CM, but then I get the screwed construction and other stuff. So really cool. I love how Jack Wolf is really fleshing out these kind of 3 price tiers: budget, mid-tier, and then they have the premium stuff. So yeah, the walk and talk is bananas. Just feels excellent. The one thing I was going to say, the one gripe I have, is it's a little hard for me to pinch if you have sweaty hands like me. I can get it right now. We'll see if that continues, but it seems like there's just enough there to pinch it, which is nice. You do have the nail nick if you want to pull it out that way. I do not like nail nicks, so I like doing that. And again, walk and talk is excellent. I haven't added oil. I haven't done anything, and it bounces, snaps. It's got, let's see, it's like 5.5. Put it, maybe a 6. It's very good. Feels very good. Again, you have a perfectly centered blade on this example. The tip is excellently executed by the OEM. You cannot get to that tip, even though it looks like you can. I literally cannot dig in there and get it, which is awesome. So well executed there. You have a kick, no stop pin. So it's going to be a good acoustic experience. You don't get that thud. All around, I think it's a winner, guys. And it comes in a bunch of variations. Let me show you those real quick. I'm going to send you guys to traditionalpocketknives.com. That's kind of my go-to retailer when it comes to Jack Wolf stuff, Rosecraft stuff. And so you can also get these at Jack Wolf Direct. You can get them at plenty of other dealers. Check them out. I will list other dealers in the description. Blade HQ, Urban Cutlery, etc. But I just, I like TPK. And when it comes to traditional style knives, that's just where I'm going to send you. So there's a link in the description and a pinned comment. That's going to send you over to TPK if you want to pick one of these up. They are dropping at 2 p.m. Eastern time today. It's 12:54 right now. So this video may go up shortly before the drop, shortly after, etc. But just keep in mind it's 2 p.m. Eastern for these to be released. There is the 80s camo carbon. There is a antique ivory. So that's going to be more like a bone. Paper micarta, I guess, actually, sorry. You're going to have abalone. You're going to have a slip you can choose from. And you're going to have a purple G10. Okay, so some of those are going to be $69. And then I think the abalone and the 80s are going to, or no, maybe it's the ebony and the 80s are going to be a little bit more. Actually, I'll just show you here. So ebony 69, antique ivory paper micarta 69, smooth red bone, that must be an exclusive somewhere. Abalone 75, 80s 79, and then there's a purple G10 for 60 or 69 as well. So I think the only one I missed there was the smooth red bone. Let's see if that's an exclusive. Gateway series, Gives you all the specs on their website, obviously. 58 to 59 HRC on the 14C. I'm gonna ding them there too as a negative because I want 14C at 60 HRC minimum. So I would like to see 60 to 61 on that. If possible, maybe they could talk to their OEM about upgrading that because that's, I think that's important. The smooth red bone is on here. I'm an idiot. It's right there. Okay? So they do have that one available. Traditional pocket knives is also dropping today. Corey Dunlap Customs. Corey is a fantastic human being. He's the best sharpener I know. He's been on my live stream before. And he's just a good dude. So check out Corey Dunlap. He also has a website. I think it's just CoreyDunlap.com. You can send your knives in for sharpening. Any knife. Doesn't have to be a kitchen knife or a fixed blade. It can be a folder. Whatever you want. He's fast. He turns it around real quick. It's affordable. Dude is just awesome. So check out Corey Dunlap. Check out his customs on here. Great Eastern Cutlery. Looks like they have something dropping as well. And then I think Finch had a knife dropping, the Jackrabbit, I believe it was. Maybe this just doesn't show that stuff. But they have the Jackrabbit dropping. So check out the Equal End Jack, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Let me just set this up here. And if I need it for comparison's sake, we will get into that. But, yeah. Then we have the Cumberland River Coke bottle from Rosecraft Blades. So we have two versions of it. Now, again, I'm going to send you over to TPK. You can use my link, and it helps the channel. I also have a discount code, Lefty10. That'll get you 10% off your Rosecrafts at Traditional Pocket Knives. Now, one of these is sold out right now at TPK. And one of them, I believe this one is Brown Micarta. And then we have one other version. I forget which one's sold out. Again, I'll show you that in a second. Ooh, that is sexy. I usually don't like the bone or antler. Some kind of white bone, I guess. So we have two of them here. Look at that, dude. That is dead sexy. Now, again, just like when we're talking about the Jack Wolf, the transitions are fantastic. The pinning is excellently done. I mean, for all we know, they have the same OEM. I mean, they look very similar, but you do have different finishes on the steel. The pinning, I will say, at least on this example, maybe I'll try the Micarta one too. I can feel the pins raised just slightly, like it's very subtle, but it's there. On the Jack Wolf, it's not there. It's absolutely just flush all the way across. When it comes to this transition, it's flush. The pin, just a little bit. This one's flush. That one I can feel. That one's pretty flush. The crest thing, logo thing is exposed a little bit. Stands proud a little bit. Again, perfectly flush on the Jack Wolf. Just some things I'm, pointing out here. That's all. Let's see how this one feels. So this one's perfect. I think it's a little bit raised. See if I can catch that corner. Just trying to be fair here. Can't catch any corners there. Now, the pins are not raised at all on this side. The crest thingy is, I always forget what it's called. Keystone crest, I don't know. Logo, emblem. But yeah, maybe it's raised up on purpose, though. That's the thing. You don't know what's on purpose and what's, just fit and finish. Which, guys, both are phenomenal. I can barely hang on to this. One of the things about the Rosecrafts is they have like a slippery finish. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just because they oil them, but I've had them, I've had some for, months, and I've tried to pinch them and I slip off. they always kind of lend themselves towards a nail nick pull, which personally is not my favorite thing in the world. I don't like having to use the nail nick. I want to pinch it. This one's, pretty pinchable, but, you have to really pay attention when I do it. You have your Rosecraft, and you have D2 steel over here, and then you have your markings. They have a China sticker. I like that they indicate where it comes from. I don't really like the fact that it's a sticker on there. You have to freaking get off, because nobody wants that on there. Put it on the box. I think it is on the box. China. Like, that's enough for me. I appreciate that. I mean, I don't think Jack Wolf does that. They're not, oh no, made in China right there. Yeah. I was going to say, I don't think they're trying to mislead people. I just thought it wasn't even on there. It is. It's right there. Made in China. Boom. Okay? But it's not on the knife. I don't need it on the knife. I don't need a sticker. The walk and talk is a little bit softer on the Rosecrafts I've found across the board. But still very good. I mean, you can see it tried to jump there to half stop, and it's going to snap close. Pretty good. Not as snappy on the half, where on the Jack Wolf, I get a really, I don't know how to explain this better. Maybe you guys will understand. I get a really Jack Wolf walk and talk here, which is top tier, okay? Jack Wolves have always had top tier walk and talk. That's something they pride themselves on. This is just a little bit subtly not as crisp, if that makes sense. And this one's probably a 4.5, where this is a 5, or 5, 5.5, 4, 5, very slight differences here, but just, observations. Blade finish, you have that machine satin, like I said, but it's more of a polished version. Like you can see kind of mirrored a little bit, where if you look here, you have that machine satin, but not quite as mirror-ish, if that makes sense. Close, though. Very similar blade finish. I would say the Jack Wolf looks more like a belt satin, which is kind of like a faux belt satin. Looks more like that than this one. Blade stock, obviously you're going to get a thinner blade over here. Their Jack Wolf is very focused on having a super thin, slicey blade. They're not looking to make working knives. They're looking to make pocket slicers, which I appreciate. Again, personal preference here on a lot of things. The sharpening choil is absolutely fantastic. Edge termination here, it works, I'm sure you can sharpen this up, no problem. I prefer the choil, not an expert on that, so, whatever you guys have thoughts, let me know. Obviously, random design differences, that stuff doesn't matter. I like the bolsters on here a little better. They're a little bit more matte versus shiny. I'm not a shiny guy, really. Not too often. Sometimes I am, but yeah. But these are good. One of the things about Rosecrafts and Jack Wolves I really like when it comes to this stuff is consistency. They're both extremely consistent in their quality. Like, they're very good. I mean, the only thing I've noticed is those raised pins a little bit here versus this one. But that could also just be the material. There's a lot of contouring going on here. Not just contouring, but there's like angles with the contouring, and then the pin. Like, it can get a little tricky to get that perfect. So I could see why they're different from one to the other. But very slight thing there. Dead centered here. Dead centered here. I mean, both companies just are knocking it out of the park. If you guys are looking for value in a traditional, right? Basically, both of these guys are gunning for GEC, right? They're gunning for GEC, trying to provide the budget form of that, right? For the people who can't dish out the $200 or $150 or whatever GECs are costing these days new, you have the option of these. And Rosecraft was absolutely dominating that market, okay? And then Jack Wolf came out around Blade Show and said, hold my beer. And Rosecraft is going to have to respond to that, in my opinion. At some point, I think Jack Wolf is going to start stealing those customers. And I don't mean it in a way like they're trying to steal customers and they're evil. No. It's a business, right? But I think the customers are going to start migrating over here because they're going to notice. They're going to notice that $10 gets you a way better blade steel. And, that's like Rosecraft. They could start using 80s and they're not going to start using modern materials. And I think there's like this niche market where there's people like me who like slip joints, but they're not really traditional guys. I'm more of a modern folder guy, but I like slip joints. And so when I get a slip joint, I want it to, kind of have the quality and the materials that I like. But I want it to be in a pattern and aesthetic of a traditional slip joint. It's a weird, right? It's a weird niche thing. But I think there's a lot of people in that category. And those people are all going to go here, basically. They were dabbling here because of what you can get. And it was the closest thing to that. But now, you know what I mean? So we'll see. I mean, now Jack Wolf's dialing it up with those traditional materials too. So it's going to be an interesting, I think the next year or so is going to tell us a lot. Is Jack Wolf going to lean into the Gateway series and just go ham on it? Rosecraft releases an amazing amount of knives, and that's part of the deal. You got to release a lot of knives when you're selling them at $60. You need to sell a lot of them suckers. So we'll see if Jack Wolf does that or if they continue to supplement, right? I love what they're doing right now. We have a Gateway Series knife. The next month we have a premium folding locking knife, right? And then the next month we have a premium slip joint with screwed construction. Then the next month we have, an ultralight series, and there's another one, steel series. Those two, ultralight and steel series knife, screwed construction but similar build, right? And it kind of just lets the consumer have a break. If they're just into the Gateway, well, then they get a little break for a couple months, and then they get a new release. If they're collecting them all, then it gives their wallet a little break at some points, right? It's just a really cool what they're doing. So we'll see if they start to just push out more and more gateways kind of as their own thing and then continue the monthly drops for the more premium stuff. I don't know. I love that Ben keeps it close to the vest. I'm good friends with Ben, but he doesn't reveal much, if anything, really, which I appreciate because I'm always surprised, and I like that. So anyway, let me show you the Rosecrafts on TPK. I'll show you that they are sold out of they're sold out of this one, it looks like. So the brown micarta is available. $60, guys. And you use my code LeftyEDC, you're knocking off another $6. You're at $54. That's a really good price. So that keeps them in the game, guys. Because this one right here is $80. You can get a version more similar to the materials here, and you can get that for $70. But you can't use a discount, so you're going to pay $70 plus any taxes and shipping. Where this one's going to be $54 with the LeftyEDC code plus any taxes and shipping. So yeah, you got a decent difference there. They're still holding a $15 margin there against Jack Wolf. So the question is, D2, 14C, pick your poison. Which one makes more sense for you? Maybe you just want the most affordable one, right? Maybe you want the more traditional one, right? Or maybe you want that modern flair. And maybe you want that stainless steel, you know? Maybe you want that edge towards quality, just a smidgen of an edge towards quality. Walk and talk, I would argue, is up here. This is such a fascinating conversation in my mind, and I can't wait to see what happens. And I apologize for rambling, but yeah, I just think it's going to be a really cool battle, so to speak. This is definitely a blade battle, that's for sure. So I'm rooting for both of them. I think they both still have their own separate niche that they fall into with these. But I honestly, when Jack Wolf came out, they still have the available, $300 slip joints, which I think are worth every penny of those. We can have that conversation. I didn't expect to see this down the line. The value here, in my opinion, is the best on the market for what you get, if that makes sense. Like just bringing the raw material that you're talking about here down to the price point we have here and keeping the quality where it is. It's absolutely bananas. And with Rosecraft, the story was very similar, but that D2 holds it back, in my opinion. That's my biggest gripe with a Rosecraft. So maybe this will spark them to make an adjustment. We shall see. All right. I love you guys. Link down below to TPK. Use that link, and I'll pin it in the comments as well. There's other dealers listed there too if you want to shop around. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I would love to chat about this, obviously, if you can't tell. And big shout out to Rosecraft Blades. Big shout out to TPK, Austin over there. And big shout out to Ben at Jack Wolf Knives. Just keep killing it, and we'll keep coming along for the ride. Love you guys. Peace.